Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Chapter 1, Text 11. अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागम् अवस्थिता भीष्मम् एव अभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि. Translation. Now, all of you must give full support to Grandfather Bhishma, standing at your respective strategic points in the phalanx of the army. Purport. Duryodhana, after preaching the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important. So, in his usual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishmadeva was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man, so everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes would not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Duryodhana clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhishmadeva. He was confident of the full support of Bhishmadeva, and Duryodhana thought that Bhishmadeva is a lot of power and Dronacharya also in the battle because he well knew that they did not even speak a word. When Arjuna's wife Draupadi, in her helpless condition, had appealed to them for justice, while she was being forced to strip naked in the presence of all the great generals in the assembly, although he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for the Pandavas. He hoped that all such affection would now be completely given up by them, as was customary during the gambling performance. Text 12. तस्य सञ्जनयन् हर्षं कुरु वृद्ध पितामह सिंहनादं विनोद्यच्चै शङ्खं दद्मो प्रतापवान्. Translation. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly like the sound of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Purport. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana, and out of his natural compassion for his, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion indirectly by the symbolism of the conch shell. He informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Text 13. ततः शङ्खास्य भैर्यस्य पणवानक गोमुखा शेषा एव अभ्ये हन्यन्त स शब्दस्तु मूलो अभवत्. Translation. After that, the conch shells, buzz, trumpets, drums, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. Text 14. ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते युक्ते महति सयन्दने स्थितौ माधवे पाण्डवास्सैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदम्तुः. Translation. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental concepts. Purport. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishmadeva, the conch shells in the hand of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu because Lord Krishna is associated with them, and whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the conch shell of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Beside that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated was donated by Agni to Arjuna, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. Text 15. पाञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेषु देवदत्तं धनञ्जय पौण्ड्रं दद्मो महाशङ्खं भीमकर्मावृकोदरः. Translation. Then Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his the Devdatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer at Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondram. Purport. Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesh in this verse because he is the owner of all senses. The living entities are part and parcel of him, and therefore the sense of the living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. The, impersonalists cannot account for the sense of the living entities, and therefore they are always anxious to describe all living entities as senseless or impersonal. The Lord, situated in the hearts of all living entities, directs their senses, but He directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity. And in the case of a pure devotee, he directly controls the senses. Here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Lord directly controlled the transcendental senses of Arjuna and thus his particular name of Rishikesh. The Lord has different names according to his different activities. For example, his name is Madhusudan because he killed the demon of the name Madhu. His name is Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and to the saints. His name is Vasudeva because he appeared as the son of Vasudeva. His name is Devki Nandan because he accepted Devki as his mother. His name is Yashodanandan because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavan. His name is Parth Sarthi because he worked as charioteer of his friend Arjuna. Similarly, his name is Rishikesh because he gave direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjay in this verse because he helped his elder brother in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to make expenditures for different sacrifices. Similarly, Bhima is known as Vrikodar because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform Herculean tasks such as killing the demon Hidamba. So, the particular types of conch shell blown by the different personalities on the side of Pandavas, beginning with the lords, were very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other side, there were no such credits nor the presence of Lord Krishna, the supreme director, nor that of the god, goddess of fortune. So they were predestined to lose the battle, and that was the message announced by the sound of the conch shells. Jai Sri Krishna.